Happy New Year, writers. I'm Renee Latulippe of the Lyrical Language Lab, and it is 2021. So I thought it might be a good idea to shake 2020 off the bottoms of our shoes and step into what I hope will be a shinier new year for all of us. And if you plan to work on your rhyming skills this year, I thought there'd be no better time to also shake off a bad habit that is probably holding you back. I am talking about the myth of counting syllables. I recently received an email from a writer who had been given the advice of checking her meter by counting the syllables in each line. And I would like to give you the New Year's gift of saying, don't do that. I am actually surprised at how widespread this misconception is. Because thinking that because every single one of your lines has, let's say, 8 syllables, means that your meter is also perfect just could not be farther from the truth. What matters in metered verse is the number and pattern of stressed beats, not the number of syllables. This distinction is so important that it bears repeating. We don't count syllables, we count stressed beats. It even has a catchy rhythm to make it easier to remember. We don't count syllables, we count stressed beats. If you are a syllable counter, pause the video and repeat this mantra 10 times out loud right now. If you're not a syllable counter but you know one, or you encounter one in your future travels, also share this mantra with them. You'll be doing them a huge favor. Because if all your lines have 8 syllables but the stressed beats are all over the place, what's the point? Let's look at some examples. Let's say I want to write some rhyming couplets. My first line is, she wants to go to Candyland. That has 8 syllables. Now let me scan the line. She wants to go to Candyland. Hey, that's iambic tetrameter and it flows perfectly. So that's already a really good start. Now we need a rhymed line, but her mom has something else planned. Land and planned rhyme, so that's good. And the line also has 8 syllables, so I should be all set. But what happens when I scan that? And I'm going to scan it in iambic tetrameter because that's what my first line was. And we know that our meter has to be consistent. But her mom has something else planned. Sad face. That doesn't work. Despite having 8 syllables, that line has no discernible meter and it's unscannable. Let's try another line in there. So we have, she wants to go to Candyland to see the famous lollipop band. That line has 9 syllables, so there's no way it can work, right? Well, let's scan it. To see the famous lollipop band. Hey, that's iambic tetrameter, and it works, even though the line has an extra syllable. There is simply a variation in the 4th foot. We have an extra unstressed syllable, and that's okay. That is allowed. So this line works perfectly, even if it has more syllables than the first line. Let's do one more example. Here's a line that you are most likely familiar with. But soft, what light through yonder window breaks. That has 10 syllables, and of course it's Shakespeare, so it is iambic pentameter. But soft, what light through yonder window breaks. Now let's add our own line. It's Grandma baking her famous bundt cakes. It has 10 syllables, but is it metrical? Let's try. It's Grandma baking her famous bundt cakes. Sad face again. That is not going to work. The stresses are all over the place. As in the example before, there is no discernible meter. It's impossible to scan. And of course, now Shakespeare is rolling in his grave. So let's put him out of his misery and put his original line back in there. You may be surprised to find that it also has variations. But soft, what light through yonder window breaks. It is the east, and Juliet is the sun. Now, what are the variations? First, the line has 11 syllables, not 10. So it doesn't look like Shakespeare was over there counting his syllables up in his turret. The next variation is that this line also has an extra unstressed syllable in the 4th foot. It's at the end of Juliet. Juliet. It is the east and Juliet is the sun. The line works even if it has a different number of syllables. I think these examples clearly show the pointlessness of counting syllables. The first two examples in particular, they rhyme and they have the same number of syllables, but they have no discernible metrical pattern, and you just could not use lines like that in a rhyming picture book manuscript. To further illustrate the futility of counting syllables, take a look at these 4 lines. Each one has 8 syllables, but each one is written in a different meter. She wants to go to Candyland. Iambic tetrameter. The lollipop band played a song. Anapestic trimeter. Eat some lollipops and taffy. Trochaic tetrameter. Singing a Candyland ditty. Dactylic trimeter. You'll notice that the anapestic and dactylic lines have variations, and that is because those meters are made up of 3 beats per foot. So in order to get them into an 8-syllable line, one of those feet has to be truncated, and normally it will be the first or the last foot. This exercise illustrates that if you rely on counting syllables instead of focusing on the pattern of stressed beats, you risk ending up with lines that are in all different meters or that have no discernible meter whatsoever. And the only remedy for this is to stop counting syllables and to start focusing on the pattern of stressed beats in the 4 major meters. Up here and in the description below, you will find links to my video playlist on meter and also to my video on how to identify stressed syllables in words. Now, if you'd like to put yourself to the test, try this exercise for yourself. Choose a number of syllables, I suggest from 8 to 12, and then try to write a line in each of the 4 major meters. My guess is that you're going to come away thinking it's a whole lot easier to look for patterns of stressed beats than to sit there counting syllables on your fingers. Feel free to leave your exercises in the comments below, as I would love to see what you come up with. Thanks for watching. If you found the video helpful, please consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell, and do share this video with your syllable counting friends. Happy writing, and ciao for now.